Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Mark's money saving vlog or cost cutting vlog. So as you can see in front of you, looks a bit of a mess, but I can assure you it's quite a tasty dish when it's all done and completed. But this is what I understand as bread pudding, and basically what I've done, this is to reduce waste as much as anything, but also to get as much value for money out of your bread when you buy it. So all I've got in here is some, I just use the crusts really, but you can use any part of the loaf, of course. If it's gone a bit stale, as long as it hasn't gone mouldy, you're alright, just stale. So I just break it up into chunks like this. In here is some brown bread and white bread, and also a couple of hot cross buns, which have gone hard but are still usable. And all I've done is break it up into small pieces, fill it with water and let it soak. That's all I'm going to do. Then after that I drain it, squeeze out as much of the water as possible, and sort of put it into a pan and bake it slowly on a low heat. Anyway, I'll show you that process shortly. Okay everybody, I hope you can see this okay. So you saw the previous shots where I soaked the mix up in water until it was thoroughly soaked, and I'm at the next stage now. So first thing to say is obviously wash your hands thoroughly. And now I need to get, some of it has drained out, but I need to get as much water out of this mixture as possible. And I've just got a basic colander, and I'm just going to squeeze that out as much as possible. Okay. Looks a bit messy and yucky, but the end result is very tasty. Now, as I say, I've got a mixture of white bread, brown bread, and a couple of old hot cross buns, which if you know what they are, they've got flavourings in of cinnamon and sugar, of course. Now, and they also got sultanas, etc. Now, if you were just using bread, I would suggest adding sultanas, and just give a bit of fruitiness, or even some. You could put mixed fruit in there. The dried mixed fruit. It's really up to you what you put in. But the more items you put in, the more cost is involved. So I'm trying to reduce the cost by using up leftover food, etc., and trying to add as little as possible in the respective ingredients. So I don't think I'm going to get much more out of that in regards to water. Right, now as I said, because I've got hot crust buns in here already, they contain cinnamon, right? But because it's mostly bread, I'm going to put a little bit more cinnamon in, ground cinnamon. Now be very careful with this. This is very strong flavour, so you don't really want a lot. How much should you put in? I'm not really sure. It really depends on how much bread you've got. I'm sure it's only that's not even a quarter of a teaspoon. Right, and also what I'm going to do is add a little bit more sugar. Now I'm not saying this is a healthy meal, but I'm just using white sugar, granulated sugar, but you can use any sugar, brown sugar, demerara, whatever you want to use. Now, okay, so all I'm going to do now is just give a thorough mixing with my hands. This is where I like that. So all the sugar and cinnamon is mixed up. And as I say, if you've got fruit in there as well, right, that should do it. Now then, just move that out of the way. As I say, it looks a bit yucky and messy, but I can show you it's very nice. Now all I've done here is, this is a baking tray or dish or whatever you want to call it. It's approximately just over 1 inch deep, and it's about 8 to 9 inches square. But you know you can do it on a shallow one, longer one, whatever you have to hand. All that's going to be done now is going to be place that in there. Simple as. The baking dish is lightly buttered, and I'm just going to, right, so obviously this dish isn't it's too big for the amount of material I've got, because I don't want it too, yes, I could spread it out, but I don't want to do that because it'll go too hard. So I want a little bit of depth on the material. So I'm just going to, you don't have to be too fussy with this. I hope you can see that, okay? Just try and get it into a rough, well, a sort of a square shape. And why square? Well, or round, depending on how you want to do it. It's just to make it easier later on to cut it into nice regular pieces. So there we are, and that's about a centimetre deep, which is about ½ inch, just over ½ inch approximately. You don't want it any thinner. Well, I mean, at the end of it, you experiment, but what you'll find is that if you thin it out too much, the middle it'll all be too hard and dry, it won't be very palatable. You're aiming to get the middle sort of solid, but not dry. It's moist or firm. Alright, so now then, that's it. All I need to do with that now is to bake it in an oven, low heat, for well, however long it takes. You'll have to keep checking on it. Later on then, once you know it's firm, it's cooked, you can just sprinkle it again with some sugar on top and give it a blast under the grill just to crisp up the top, and then you can either eat it like that, obviously cut it up and eat it like that, or you can have it with custard. That's what I quite often do. Now there is a similar version to this called bread and butter pudding. As I say, all I've used is water, nothing else. There's a similar thing called bread and butter pudding, and basically you're doing a similar sort of thing, but instead of, all you're doing is replacing the water with an egg custard mix. So just make up an egg custard and mix up the bread with that and bake it in the oven, and that's it. A very cheap way of filling your belly, and with some leftovers. It's amazing what people throw out, the crusts. And I'm only using, as I say, just use the crusts. So everybody, here's the end result. Now then, what I failed to mention when you're baking these in the oven, to make sure that you cut your costs as much as possible, I suggest you bake these in the oven when you're cooking other items. So if you're roasting a joint or something, put this in the oven with the joint so that you're not wasting gas or electricity, and put it at the bottom of the oven so it doesn't cook too quickly. Alright, so I hope that will save you a bit of money. Okay, bye for now.